The news spread through the Valorian Empire like fire through dry grass. The forgotten fifth princess had revealed a hidden power, gravity manipulation, the rarest and most dangerous ability in the known universe. In all of Valorian history, only 3 people had ever possessed it. Now there was a fourth. Yuna and Tai-Ho were called back to the capital. Their small border patrol assignment was cancelled. The Emperor himself wanted to see them dot as their ship approached the crystal towers of the palace. Yuna felt her old fear returning. For 2 months, she had been happy. Away from the court, away from her sisters, away from the whispers and mockery. She had started to believe that maybe things could be different. Now she was going back. "You are shaking," Tai-Ho said, looking at her hands on the control panel. Yuna quickly hid them in her lap. "I am fine. You are lying." She sighed. "I do not want to go back. I know what will happen. My sisters will be angry. The court will be suspicious. Everyone will want to know why I hid my power for so long." "What will you tell them?" "The truth," Yuna said. "That I did not know I had it. That I was too afraid to try. That everyone spent so many years telling me I was worthless that I started to believe it." Tai-Ho nodded. "Good. The truth is always the best weapon." When they landed at the palace, a crowd was waiting for them. Soldiers, servants, nobles, and all 4 of Yuna's older sisters. Princess Hana stood at the front, her golden wings spread wide, her face showing no emotion. Yuna walked down the ramp with Tai-Ho at her side. She kept her head high, even though every part of her wanted to look at the ground. "Sister," Princess Hana said. Her voice was cold. "Welcome home." "Thank you," Yuna replied. Hana stepped closer. Her black eyes examined Yuna like she was studying a strange insect. "We heard about your little performance at the border. Gravity manipulation. Quite impressive. Strange that you never showed this ability before. I did not know I had it. Did you not?" Hana tilted her head. "Or did you hide it on purpose? Perhaps you were planning something. Perhaps you have been pretending to be weak all these years while secretly growing stronger." Yuna felt her hands start to shake again. This was exactly what she had feared. They were turning her power into a conspiracy. But before she could respond, Tai-Ho stepped forward. "Princess Hana," he said, his voice calm but firm. "I have been with Princess Yuna for 2 months. I have seen her fear, her doubt, her pain. She was not pretending. She truly believed she had no power. The only reason she discovered it was because I was about to die and she had no choice but to try." Hana's eyes moved to Tai-Ho. There was disgust in her gaze. "The human speaks out of turn." "The human speaks the truth," Tai-Ho replied, something this court seems unfamiliar with. A gasp went through the crowd. Nobody spoke to Princess Hana like that. She was the eldest, the strongest, the heir to the throne. Even other royals treated her with careful respect. Hana's wings flared. For a moment, Yuna thought she was going to attack Tai-Ho, but then a voice echoed across the landing area. "Enough." The Emperor had arrived. He floated down from a balcony above, his forearms spread wide, his silver robes flowing behind him. The crowd parted before him like water. He landed between Hana and Tai-Ho, his black eyes looking at each of them in turn. "My daughter," he said to Hana, "step back." Hana's face twisted with anger, but she obeyed. She retreated to stand with her sisters, all of them glaring at Yuna with hatred in their eyes. The Emperor turned to Yuna. For a long moment, he just looked at her. Yuna could not read his face. She had never been able to. He was her father, but he had always felt like a stranger. "Come," he said finally, "we will speak privately." He led Yuna and Tai-Ho into the palace, through corridors that Yuna had never been allowed to enter before. They were the Emperor's personal quarters, reserved for only the most important visitors. They entered a room with walls of pure light. The Emperor sat on a simple chair and gestured for them to do the same. Gravity manipulation. the Emperor said. I had hoped you might develop this gift. Your mother had a trace of it in her bloodline, but I never told you. I never told anyone. Yuna stared at him. You knew I might have this power? I suspected, but suspicion is not certainty. If I had announced that you might have such an ability, and then you failed to develop it, the shame would have been even worse for you. So you let me suffer instead, Yuna said. The words came out before she could stop them. The Emperor's face remained calm. I made a choice, perhaps the wrong one, but I made it to protect you. Protect me? Yuna stood up, her voice rising. I spent centuries being mocked and ignored. My sisters tortured me. The court treated me like garbage. How was that protection? It was survival, the Emperor said. If the others had known you might have such power, they would not have merely mocked you. They would have killed you. Power is dangerous, Yuna, especially power like yours. Your sisters are strong, but they could never control gravity. They would have seen you as a threat to be eliminated. Yuna felt her legs grow weak. She sat back down. Taiho spoke quietly. Is she still in danger? The Emperor nodded slowly. Now that her power is revealed, yes. Hannah and the others will see her differently. Not as a joke to be laughed at, but as a rival to be destroyed. They will not attack openly. That would be too obvious. But there will be plots, poison, accidents, assassins in the night. Then protect her, Taiho said. You are the Emperor. Order them to leave her alone. I cannot control everything, human. Even an emperor has limits. My daughters have their own followers, their own allies. If I openly favor Yuna, it will only make things worse. The others will feel threatened, and threatened people do desperate things. Yuna looked at her father with new understanding. He was not cold because he did not care. He was cold because he was afraid. Afraid of what his own family might do. What do I do? She asked. You become strong, the Emperor said. Not just in power, but in mind. You learn to see threats before they come. You build your own allies. And you survive until you are too powerful for anyone to challenge. He stood up and walked to a window that looked out over the Empire. I cannot protect you, Yuna. Not directly. But I can give you time. I am sending you on a diplomatic mission to the outer systems. It will keep you away from the capital for a year. Use that time well. Train your power. Build your strength. And when you return, be ready for war. That night, Yuna sat in her quarters, unable to sleep. Taiho sat with her, keeping her company in the darkness. My own sisters want to kill me, she said quietly. My own family. Family is not always blood, Taiho replied. Sometimes it is the people who choose you. Yuna looked at him. Like you chose me? Exactly like that. She moved closer to him, resting her head on his shoulder. It was the first time she had allowed herself such closeness. For centuries, she had kept everyone at a distance, because everyone had kept her at a distance first. But Taiho was different. Will you help me? She asked. Will you teach me to fight? Not just with my power, but with everything? My mind, my body, my will? I will teach you everything I know, Taiho promised. And together we will show them all what a mistake they made when they underestimated you. Yuna closed her eyes. She was scared. She was angry. She was sad. But she was not alone anymore. And that made all the difference. The next morning, their ship departed from the capital. Through the window, Yuna watched the crystal towers grow smaller and smaller. Her sisters were down there somewhere, already planning her death. Let them plan Dot by the time she returned. She would be ready Dot. She would be unstoppable. 2 months had passed since the choosing ceremony. The human soldiers and their Valorian companions had been sent on various missions across the Empire. Some were diplomatic visits. Some were exploration missions. And some were military assignments in dangerous areas. Taiho and Yuna had been given the worst assignment of all. They were sent to patrol the border of the Empire, where space pirates and leftover machine soldiers still caused trouble. It was dangerous, boring work that nobody wanted. The court had given it to them as an insult, but Taiho did not complain. He never complained. He just did his job. Their ship was small, built for a crew of 10 but operated by just the two of them. Taiho piloted and handled weapons. Yuna managed communications and navigation. They had developed a rhythm over the weeks, learning to work together without needing many words. "There is a distress signal," Yuna said one morning. Her voice was calm but serious. "A merchant ship. They say they are under attack." Taiho looked at the navigation screen. The merchant ship was 30 minutes away at full speed. "Any other patrol ships nearby?" "None within 2 hours. Then we go." Taiho pushed the engines to maximum. The ship shook as they raced through space. Yuna gripped her seat but did not show fear. Over the past 2 months, Taiho had noticed changes in her. She spoke more. She smiled more. She was starting to believe in herself, even if just a little. When they arrived at the location, Taiho's heart sank. The merchant ship was surrounded by 5 attack vessels. They were pirate ships, fast and heavily armed. The merchant ship was already damaged, smoke pouring from its engines. "We are outgunned," Yuna said. 5 against 1. "I know," Taiho said. He started calculating attack angles in his head. "We should call for help and wait," Yuna suggested. "If we wait, everyone on that merchant ship dies." Taiho's hands moved across the controls. "I do not wait while innocent people are killed." Yuna looked at him. She saw the determination in his eyes. This was the human who had proven everyone wrong his whole life. He did not know how to give up. "What do we do?" she asked. "You take the weapons. I will fly. And we pray that I am as good as I think I am." Taiho flew the ship directly toward the pirate vessels. It was a crazy move. Any normal pilot would try to stay at a distance and pick off enemies one by one. But Taiho was not a normal pilot. He dove between 2 pirate ships so close that their weapons could not track him. The pirates tried to shoot, but ended up hitting each other instead. Yuna fired their weapons and hit a 3rd ship's engine, sending it spinning away. "2 down," Taiho said. 3 to go. But the remaining pirates were smarter. They spread out and surrounded Taiho's ship. He could not dodge all of them at once. A blast hit their left side. Alarm screamed. Another blast hit their engines. "We are losing power," Yuna said. "Engines at 40%. Taiho tried to fly them out of the trap, but the ship was too slow now. The pirates closed in, firing again and again. Each hit shook the entire vessel. Then the worst happened. A direct hit to the cockpit. The window cracked. Air started rushing out. Taiho was thrown from his seat, his head hitting the control panel. Blood ran down his face. He tried to stand, but could not. The ship was falling apart. The pirates were moving in for the final kill, and Taiho could not save them. Yuna looked at the human lying on the floor. The human who had chosen her when nobody else would. The human who had given her hope for the first time in centuries. The human who believed in her. Something inside her chest began to burn. She had spent her whole life being told she was weak, useless, powerless. She had started to believe it. She had hidden herself away, never trying, never failing. But Taiho had seen something in her. Something real. Maybe it was time to find out if he was right. Yuna closed her eyes. She reached deep inside herself, to a place she had always been afraid to go. There was power there. Power she had felt but never used. Power that her sisters said she did not have. They were wrong. When Yuna opened her eyes, they were glowing bright purple. She raised her hands, and the universe answered. Gravity itself bent to her will. The first pirate ship suddenly stopped moving. Then it started to crumple, like an invisible hand was crushing it. The metal screamed as it folded in on itself. In seconds, the ship was reduced to a ball of twisted metal, no bigger than a rock dot. The second pirate ship tried to run. Yuna did not let it. She flicked her hand, and the ship was pulled backward, then slammed into the third ship. Both vessels exploded in a ball of fire. The last two pirates turned and fled at maximum speed. They had never seen anything like this. They had heard stories of Valorian royalty having great powers, but this was beyond anything they could imagine. Yuna could feel their fear. And for the first time in her life, she was not the one who was afraid. She could have let them go. They were running. They were no longer a threat, but she remembered the merchant ship. She remembered the innocent people who had almost died. She remembered that pirates like these would attack again if they were allowed to escape. She reached out with her power. One last time, both fleeing ships stopped in space. Then they flew backward at incredible speed, crashing into each other. The explosion lit up the dark space like a new sun. Then everything was quiet. Yuna stood alone in the damaged cockpit, her eyes still glowing, her hands still raised. Power flowed through her like a river. She had never felt anything like it. It was terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Then she heard a sound behind her. Taeho was sitting up. One hand pressed against the wound on his head. Blood covered half his face. But he was smiling. "I knew it," he said. Yuna rushed to his side. "You are hurt. Let me help you." "I am fine," he said, though he clearly was not. "You? That was you?" Yuna nodded, suddenly feeling shy again. The glow faded from her eyes. "I did not know if it would work. I have never used that much power before. I was always too afraid." Taeho laughed, then winced from the pain. "You just destroyed 5 ships with your mind, and you were afraid?" "I was afraid of what people would think. Afraid that I would fail. Afraid that maybe I really was as weak as everyone said." Taeho reached out and took her hand. His grip was weak, but his eyes were strong. "You are the opposite of weak," he said. "You can control gravity. Do you understand how incredible that is? Your sisters can make fire or fly fast. You can control the very force that holds the universe together." Yuna looked at her own hands like she was seeing them for the first time. "I never thought of it that way." "That is because no one ever taught you to think of it that way," Taeho said. "They were too busy trying to convince you that you were nothing. But you are not nothing, Yuna. You are everything." An hour later, help finally arrived. Other patrol ships found them floating next to the saved merchant ship. The merchants were crying with gratitude. They told everyone how the small patrol vessel had fought 5 pirates alone and won. When the other soldiers heard what had happened, they did not believe it. 5 ships destroyed by a 2-person crew? Impossible. But the evidence was there. The wreckage of the pirate ships floated in space, twisted and crushed in ways that no weapon should have been able to cause. Whispers began to spread through the empire. The 5th princess had power after. All power unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Taeho sat in the medical bay of the rescue ship, getting his head wound treated. He was still smiling. "What are you so happy about?" Yuna asked, sitting next to him. "You almost died." "Almost does not count," Taeho said. "And I'm happy because I was right." "Right about what?" Taeho looked at her, his eyes warm. "Right about you." Yuna felt her face grow hot. She looked away, trying to hide her smile. For the first time in 400 years, she did not feel like a mistake. She felt like a miracle. 3 days had passed since the choosing ceremony. Taeho sat in his new quarters in the royal palace, waiting for Princess Yuna. She had asked to meet with him privately, and he could guess what she wanted to say. The room they had given him was simple compared to the other, human soldiers' quarters. while John-ho lived in a golden tower with Princess Hana, and other soldiers enjoyed grand suites filled with treasures. Taiho had been placed in a small room in the oldest part of the palace. It was clean, but plain. The message was clear. If you choose the least important princess, you get the least important room. Taiho did not mind. He had slept in mud and blood during the war. A clean bed and solid walls were luxury enough for him. A soft knock came at the door. "Come in," Taiho said. Yuna entered slowly, as if she was not sure she was allowed. She wore a simple gray dress that matched her skin. Her pale wings were folded tightly against her back, making her seem even smaller than she was. She sat down across from him but did not look at his face. She kept her eyes on the floor, like she had at the ceremony. "I need to tell you the truth," she said. "About me. About what you have gotten yourself into." Taiho leaned back in his chair. "I am listening." Yuna took a deep breath. "I am what the Valorians call a half-blood. My mother was not fully royal. She was a common woman that my father loved before he became emperor. When my father took his crown, he was forced to marry royal women from powerful families. But he never forgot my mother. He visited her in secret, and I was born." She paused, her hands gripping the fabric of her dress. "When I was brought to the palace, the other wives were angry. The other princesses hated me. I was proof that their mother was not the emperor's only love. They did everything they could to make me feel unwelcome." "What did they do?" Taiho asked quietly. Yuna laughed, but there was no happiness in the sound. "What did they not do?" "They spread stories that my blood was weak, that my powers were pathetic. They made sure no teachers would train me properly. When I tried to learn to fly, they cut feathers from my wings while I slept so I would fail in front of everyone." Taiho felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. "Continue." "They told everyone that I was cursed, that any alliance with me would bring bad luck. Slowly, everyone believed them. Even the servants began to avoid me. I have lived for 400 years, and I have spent 350 of them alone." She finally looked up at Taiho. Her purple eyes were wet with tears she was fighting to hold back. "This is what you have chosen," she said. "A princess that everyone thinks is worthless. A companion who will bring you shame. The other humans already laugh at you behind your back. They say you are stupid. They say you wasted your reward." Taiho said nothing. "You can still fix this," Yuna continued. "If you go to my father and tell him you made a mistake, he might let you choose again. You could have Princess Myra or Princess Dara. You could have power and respect. You could have everything." She reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was cool and soft. "Please," she whispered, "save yourself. I am not worth your sacrifice." For a long moment, Taiho was silent. Then he did something unexpected. He laughed out. Yuna pulled her hand back, confused and hurt. "You laugh at me?" "No," Taiho said, shaking his head. "I laugh at them. Your sisters. The court. Everyone who could not see what I see." "And what do you see?" Yuna asked. "A weak, half-blooded princess with useless powers." Taiho stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the crystal towers of the palace. "I grew up on Earth in a small village," he said. "My family was poor. My father worked in the fields until his back broke. My mother washed clothes for rich people until her hands bled. I was small and thin, and nobody expected anything from me." He turned to face Yuna. "When I first joined the army, they told me I was too weak. When I applied for pilot training, they said I was too slow. When I asked to lead a team, they laughed and said I had no presence." He smiled. "Do you know what I did?" "What?" Yuna asked. "I proved them all wrong. I became the best soldier in my unit, then the best in my division, then the best in the entire Earth Defense Force. Every time someone said I could not do something, I did it better than anyone else. He walked back to Yuna and knelt down in front of her, so their eyes were level. I know what it feels like to be underestimated, he said. I know what it feels like to have everyone expect you to fail. And I know that the people who are treated this way are often the strongest of all. Because they have to be. Yuna stared at him. You truly believe I am strong? I do not believe, Taiho said. I know. I saw it in your eyes at the ceremony. Behind all the pain and loneliness, there is fire. There is power. Your sisters may have tried to crush you, but they failed. You are still here. After 400 years of cruelty, you are still standing. That is not weakness. That is strength. A single tear rolled down Yuna's cheek. No one has ever spoken to me like this. Then everyone else was blind, Taiho said. He stood up and offered her his hand. I made my choice, and I will not change it. I do not care what the court thinks. I do not care what the other soldiers say. I chose you, Yuna, and I believe that one day they will all understand why. Yuna looked at his hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, she took it that her grip was shaking, but it was real. I do not know if I can become what you think I am, she said. You do not need to become anything, Taiho replied. You just need to stop hiding what you already are. For the first time since he had met her, Yuna smiled. It was small and uncertain, like a flower trying to bloom in winter. But it was there. You are a strange human, she said. I will take that as a compliment. That night, they talked for hours. Yuna told him stories of her lonely childhood, of watching her sisters fly while she stayed on the ground, of reading books in dark corners because nobody would play with her. Taiho told her about Earth, about the green forests and blue oceans, about the smell of rain and the taste of his mother's cooking. They talked until the twin suns of the Valorian world began to rise. And when they finally said goodbye, something had changed between them. They were no longer strangers. They were partners. Yuna walked back to her own small room in the palace. It was even smaller than Taiho's, hidden away where visitors would never see it. But for the first time in centuries, she did not feel trapped there. She looked at herself in the mirror. Same gray skin, same pale wings, same purple eyes, but something was different. There was a small light in those eyes now. A tiny spark that had not been there before. Hope. She had almost forgotten what it felt like. Across the palace, Taiho lay in his bed and smiled at the ceiling. The other soldiers could laugh all they wanted. The court could whisper and mock. None of it mattered. He had made the right choice. He was sure of it. The Great Hall of the Valorian Empire was the most beautiful place Captain Taiho had ever seen. The walls were made of crystal that glowed with soft blue light. The ceiling was so high that clouds actually floated inside the building. Everything smelled like flowers he could not name, and soft music played from somewhere he could not see. Taiho stood in a line with 49 other human soldiers. They were the best warriors Earth had to offer. Each one had fought in the Great War against the machine armies. Each one had survived battles that killed thousands. They were heroes, and today they would receive a special honor. The Valorian Emperor sat on a throne made of pure light. He was tall, with silver skin and 4 arms. His eyes were completely black, like deep space itself. When he spoke, his voice filled the entire hall without him needing to shout. Humans of Earth, the Emperor said, you helped us win the war. Without your soldiers, the machines would have destroyed us all. Today, we offer you the greatest gift our empire can give. Each of you will choose a royal companion. This companion will be your partner, your ally, and your friend. Through this bond, our species will be connected forever. Taiho looked at the other soldiers. Most of them were smiling. They had heard stories about the Valorian princesses. The empire had many royal children, and each one was said to be more beautiful and powerful than anything humans had ever seen. The emperor raised one of his 4 hands. Let the choosing begin. A door opened on the side of the hall. One by one, the princesses walked in. Taiho felt his breath stop in his chest. They were incredible. Each princess had wings that sparkled like diamonds. Their skin came in different colors: silver, gold, deep purple, and bright blue. They moved like dancers, floating more than walking. The soldiers around Taiho started whispering excitedly. He heard names being passed around. Princess Hana was the oldest, with golden skin and wings that stretched 20 feet wide. She was a famous warrior who had killed 1,000 machine soldiers with her bare hands. Princess Mira had silver skin and could control fire with her mind. Princess Dara was the most beautiful, with skin that changed colors depending on her mood. One by one, the human soldiers stepped forward to make their choices. The first soldier, a tall man named Junho, walked straight to Princess Hana and bowed. She smiled and accepted him. The crowd cheered. This was a good match, a strong warrior choosing the strongest princess. More soldiers made their choices. The most popular princesses were surrounded by humans trying to get their attention. There was laughing and talking and celebrating. Everyone seemed so happy. But Taiho did not move. He stood in his spot and watched everything carefully. He was not looking at the popular princesses. He was looking at the shadows near the back of the hall. There, standing alone, was another princess. She was smaller than the others. Her wings were not diamond bright but pale, almost white. Her skin was a soft gray color, not the flashy gold or silver of her sisters. She wore simple clothes while the others wore elaborate dresses covered in jewels. Nobody was looking at her. Nobody was walking toward her. She stood with her hands folded in front of her, her eyes looking at the floor. She seemed to be trying to make herself invisible. Taiho had seen that look before. He had seen it on the faces of soldiers who had lost their confidence. He had seen it on children who had been bullied. He had seen it on people who had been told, again and again, that they were worthless. He started walking. The other soldiers were too busy fighting for the attention of the popular princesses to notice him. He walked past Princess Hana and her crowd of admirers. He walked past Princess Myra, who was showing off her fire powers to impress the humans. He walked past all of them. The pale princess looked up when she heard footsteps coming toward her. Her eyes went wide with surprise. She looked behind her, as if checking to see who Taiho was actually walking toward. But there was nobody behind her. Just empty space and shadows. Taiho stopped in front of her and bowed deeply. "My name is Taiho," he said. "I am a captain in the Earth Defense Force. If you would accept me, I would be honored to be your companion." The entire hall went quiet. The music stopped. Everyone turned to look at them. The pale princess stared at Taiho like he had spoken in a language she did not understand. "I am Yuna," she said quietly, "the 5th princess. I think you have made a mistake." "I do not make mistakes," Taiho said. "I make choices." Someone in the crowd laughed. Then more people laughed. Soon, half the hall was laughing. Taiho heard whispers all around him. The human chose Yuna? The weak one? Does he not know about her? She is worthless. Her blood is diluted. She has almost no power. The fool has wasted his choice. Princess Yuna's face turned red with embarrassment. She looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. "You hear them," she said to Taiho. "They speak the truth. I am the least of my sisters. I have no great powers. My wings cannot carry me far. I will bring you no honor. Please, go choose someone else before it is too late." Taiho did not move. He stayed bowed in front of her. "I have made my choice," he said. "I do not wish to change it." "But why?" Yuna asked. Her voice was almost a whisper. Why would you choose me? Taiho stood up straight and looked into her eyes. They were pale purple, like the first light of dawn. In them, he saw pain. He saw loneliness. But he also saw something else. Something that the others had missed. Because, he said, I have learned to see what others cannot. The Emperor raised his hand, and the hall fell silent again. The choice has been made, he announced. Captain Taiho of Earth has chosen Princess Yuna as his companion. Let the bond be recognized. There was no cheering this time, just confused murmurs and more quiet laughter. The other princesses looked at Yuna with expressions that mixed pity and amusement. The human soldiers looked at Taiho like he had lost his mind, but Taiho did not care what any of them thought. He had spent his whole life proving people wrong. He had been told he was too small to be a soldier, too quiet to be a leader, too human to fight against machines. And he had proven them all wrong, every single time. He looked at Yuna and saw something nobody else could see. He saw strength hiding behind weakness. He saw fire hiding behind silence. He saw a storm waiting to be born. The ceremony continued, but Taiho and Yuna stood apart from the others. She still seemed shocked, unable to believe what had happened. You will regret this, she said softly. Taiho smiled. I never regret anything. And somewhere deep in her heart, in a place that had been cold and dark for centuries, Princess Yuna felt something warm begin to glow. Hope. 1 year had passed as Yuna and Taiho left the capital. They had traveled to 100 different worlds. They had completed diplomatic missions that others had failed. They had earned respect from species that had never trusted the Valorian Empire before. But more importantly, Yuna had changed. She was no longer the small, scared princess who stood in shadows. She stood tall now, her pale wings spread wide with pride. Her gray skin no longer seemed dull but shone like polished steel. Her purple eyes held a calm confidence that made people stop and stare. Taiho had trained her every day. He taught her how to fight with her hands and with weapons. He taught her how to read people, how to spot lies, how to find weakness in enemies. He taught her how humans had survived for millions of years despite being weaker than almost every other species they met. And Yuna had practiced her power until it was as natural as breathing. She could crush a ship with a thought or lift a feather with perfect gentleness. She could create gravity wells that trapped attackers or reverse gravity to send missiles flying back where they came from. She had become something terrifying and beautiful. Now, as their ship approached the capital again, she felt no fear. Only readiness. There is a message from the palace, Taiho said, reading his console. The Emperor is dead. Yuna closed her eyes. She had known this was coming. Her father had been old, even by Valorian standards. Still, the news hurt. When? 3 days ago. The coronation of the new Empress will happen when we arrive. Princess Hana has taken the throne. Of course she had. Hana was the eldest, the strongest, the most ruthless. She had probably been waiting for this moment her entire life. There is more, Taiho said quietly. The message also says that all royal family members must attend the coronation. Attendance is mandatory. Yuna understood what that meant. Hana wanted her there, wanted her vulnerable, wanted to finally eliminate the sister she now saw as a threat. It is a trap, Yuna said. Obviously, we should go anyway. Taiho smiled. I was hoping you would say that. When they landed at the palace, everything looked different. Black flags hung from every tower, mourning the dead emperor. Soldiers lined every corridor, more than Yuna had ever seen before. And everywhere she looked, she saw eyes watching her with suspicion or fear. Hana had prepared well. The coronation ceremony was held in the Great Hall, the same place where Taiho had chosen Yuna a year ago. Now it was decorated for a funeral and a crowning at the same time. Black and gold ribbons covered every surface. Yuna walked in with Taiho at her side. She wore a simple white dress that contrasted with everyone else's black. It was a statement. She was not here to mourn. She was here to survive. The other human soldiers and their companions were present. Some of them looked at Yuna with surprise. She had changed so much that they barely recognized her. The whispers started immediately. "Is that really the fifth princess? She looks so different. I heard she destroyed 20 pirate ships last month with just her power. They say she's more powerful than all her sisters combined now." Yuna ignored the whispers. She walked to her place among the royal family and stood tall. Her sisters stood nearby, all of them wearing expressions of hatred. Princess Myra's hands flickered with angry flames. Princess Dara's skin changed colors rapidly, showing her emotional turmoil. And Princess Hana, now Empress Hana, sat on the throne of light. She wore a crown of pure energy that floated above her head. Her golden wings were spread wide, filling half the room. She looked like a goddess, but Yuna was not impressed. The ceremony began. Priests spoke ancient words. Nobles bowed and made promises of loyalty. The crown was officially placed on Hana's head. She was now the ruler of the greatest empire in the known galaxy. When the ceremony ended, Hana raised her hand. "Before we celebrate," she announced, "there is a matter of justice to address. My sister, Princess Yuna, has been accused of crimes against the empire." The hall went silent. Yuna felt Taiho tense beside her, ready to fight. "What crimes?" Yuna asked. Her voice was calm. Hana smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You hid your power from the royal family for centuries. This is treason. You allied yourself with a human instead of strengthening our bloodline. This is betrayal. And worst of all, you have gathered a following among the outer systems who believe you should be empress instead of me. This is rebellion." "Those are lies," Yuna said. "Are they?" "We have witnesses. Documents. Proof." Hana waved her hand, and guards started moving toward Yuna. "You will be arrested and tried for your crimes. If found guilty, you will be executed." The guards surrounded Yuna and Taiho. There were at least 50 of them, all armed with weapons that could hurt even a Valorian princess. Taiho moved to fight, but Yuna touched his arm. "Wait," she said. She looked around the hall. Hundreds of faces stared back at her, some with fear, some with anticipation, and some, she noticed, with hope. The outer systems she had visited during her year away. She had helped them, saved them, protected them when no one else would. And now, their representatives were here, watching to see what would happen. Yuna stepped forward, away from the guards. "If you want to arrest me," she said to Hana, "then do it yourself. Come down from your throne and take me." Hana's smile disappeared. "You dare challenge me? I dare speak the truth. You have always hated me. You tortured me for centuries because I was different. Now you are using lies to kill me because you are afraid of what I have become." Yuna spread her wings. They were pale, yes, but they were also strong. "I will not go quietly. I will not let you murder me with fake justice. If you want me dead, sister, you will have to earn it." The hall exploded with noise. Nobles shouted. Guards raised their weapons. Hana's face turned red with rage. "Silence!" The new empress screamed. The hall went quiet. "You want a challenge? You want to fight? Fine. I will give you a warrior's death, little sister. It is more than you deserve." Hana rose from her throne and flew down to the floor. Her golden wings made the air shimmer with heat. Power radiated from her body. "The rest of you, stay back," she ordered. "This is between family." The guards retreated. The crowd pushed against the walls. Only Taiho remained close. But even he stepped back at Yuna's nod. The two sisters faced each other in the center of the great hall. One in gold and black, one in white. One who had spent her life in light, one who had spent her life in shadow. Hannah attacked first. She was fast, faster than lightning. Her fist struck out with enough force to shatter mountains, but it hit nothing but air. Yuna had shifted gravity around herself, sliding out of the way without seeming to move at all. She was simply not where Hannah expected her to be. Hannah attacked again, and again, and again. Each time, Yuna avoided her with the smallest of movements. It was like trying to catch smoke. "Stop running!" Hannah screamed. "Fight me!" "I am fighting," Yuna said calmly. "You just cannot tell." She raised one hand. Hannah suddenly dropped to her knees. The gravity around her had increased tenfold. Her golden wings pressed flat against her back. Her arms shook as she tried to push herself up. "What is this?" Hannah gasped. "This is what I learned while you sat on your throne." Yuna walked toward her fallen sister. "This is what happens when someone spends a year training while you spent it playing politics. This is the power you tried to crush out of me for 400 years. She increased the gravity further. Hannah's face pressed against the floor. Cracks appeared in the crystal beneath her. "I should kill you," Yuna said, "for everything you did to me, for every cruel word, every cut feather. Every night I cried myself to sleep because of you." Tears ran down her face. Centuries of pain, finally released. "But I'm not you, Hannah. I do not solve problems by destroying people. I solve them by being better than them." She released the gravity. Hannah gasped and rolled onto her back, too weak to stand. Yuna turned to face the watching crowd. "I do not want to be Empress," she announced. "I never did. I only want to live my life in peace with the partner I chose. But I will not accept injustice. I will not accept lies. And I will not accept being treated as less than I am." She looked at her other sisters, who were staring at her with terror. "I am leaving the capital. I am leaving this family. If anyone tries to follow me, to hurt me, to threaten those I love, I will return. And next time, I will not be merciful." She walked to Taiho and took his hand. "Let us go." Together, they walked out of the great hall. Nobody tried to stop them. Nobody even moved out as they boarded their ship. Taiho looked at Yuna. "Are you okay?" Yuna thought about it. She had just humiliated the new empress in front of the entire empire. She had renounced her family. She had made enemies of the most powerful people in the galaxy. And yet, for the first time in her entire life, she felt free. "Yes," she said, smiling. "I am okay. Better than okay. I am myself." Their ship lifted off from the palace and rose into the sky. Below them, the crystal towers grew smaller and smaller until they disappeared completely. Ahead of them, the stars waited. A whole universe of possibilities. "Where do we go now?" Yuna asked. Taiho looked at her. The forgotten princess. The hidden power. The woman who had become stronger than anyone ever imagined. The woman he loved. "Anywhere you want," he said. "The universe is ours." Yuna laughed. It was a sound of pure joy, pure freedom, pure hope. She had spent 400 years in shadow. Now she was stepping into the light, and she would never go back.